In this video, I'm going to break down 5 worldly habits Christian guys have quietly adopted in dating. The scary part is most Christian guys don't even realize they are doing them because of how culture has normalized them. But by the end of this video, you will know exactly which habits to eliminate so you can start dating in a way that actually reflects what you believe. If you don't know me, my name is Daniel and I make videos helping young Christian men prepare for relationships God's way. So if you are serious about dating in a way that honors God, instead of simply following culture, you're going to get a lot out of this video. The first habit is optionality. And before you think this doesn't apply to you, let me describe what it actually looks like. You're talking to multiple girls at the same time, maybe on a dating app, maybe in real life, and none of them know about the others. Now, culture says that's just smart dating. Keep your options open. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. But here's what the worldly mindset has done that most Christian guys haven't noticed. It has turned dating into a marketplace and people into products. Think about how a dating app actually works. You scroll through profiles like you're shopping online. Swipe left, swipe right, too short, too tall, not my type. And just like that, a person is gone. The problem isn't the app. The problem is the mindset the app creates, where every person is just another option to be compared, evaluated, and discarded. Philippians 2 verse 3 to 4 says, "Do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit. Rather, in humility, value others above yourselves, not looking to your own interests, but each of you to the interest of the others." So here's the lesson. Intentionality honors people. Optionality treats them as options. If you are genuinely interested in someone, pursue her with clarity and intention. But optionality isn't just about how many people you are talking to. The next habit is about how you are pursuing. And most guys are getting this wrong too. The second habit is passive pursuit. And this one is everywhere. You like her photos, you watch her stories, you send the occasional haha or fire emoji to keep yourself on a radar. But you never actually ask her out. You never have a real conversation. You never make your intentions clear. And you tell yourself you're pursuing her. No, you are not. That's not pursuit. That's presence without intention. And there's a massive difference. Christian women have said it themselves when asked what their biggest complaint about men was. One of their answers was, God didn't create you to be passive. Pursuit seems to be obsolete, but we still want to be pursued. And here's the biblical reality most guys need to hear. Passivity isn't neutral. It's actually the oldest sin in the male story. Scripture attributes the consequences of the fall to Adam, not because Eve didn't sin, but because Adam was the leader. He was present and he did nothing. 1 Corinthians 6 verse 13 says, "Be watchful, stand firm in the faith, act like men, be strong." The counter to passive Adam is active Jesus, who left his kingdom, took initiative, and pursued what he loved at great personal cost. So here's the lesson. Liking her stories isn't pursuing her. It's just making sure she doesn't forget you exist. If you're interested, say so, ask her out, make your intentions clear. Lead with courage, not comfort. Because passive pursuit doesn't just fail to honor her. It reveals something about your readiness to lead. And speaking of revealing character, the third habit is one of the clearest character tests in modern dating. But before that, if you've gotten value from this video so far, I'd appreciate it if you could hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss more videos like this. The third habit is ghosting. And I know you might be thinking, I've never fully ghosted anyone. But here's what ghosting actually looks like in the modern Christian dating context. You were talking to her consistently. Things were going well. And then slowly, you just faded. Replies got shorter. Response times got longer. Until eventually the conversation just died. No explanation, no closure, just silence. And you told yourself it was easier that way. Less awkward, less painful for both of you. But here's the truth most guys don't want to hear. Ghosting isn't kind. It's cowardly. And it's not just bad manners, it's a character issue. Because here's what ghosting actually communicates. I would rather disappear than have an uncomfortable conversation. And the man who can't have a hard conversation in dating will struggle to have one in marriage. The patterns you build now will follow you. Matthew 7 verse 12 says, "Do to others what you would have them do to you." So I'm going to ask you a simple question. Would you want to be ghosted? If the answer is no, then you already know what you should do instead. So here's the lesson. If it's not working, say so. You don't need a long explanation. You don't need a perfect script. A simple, honest, kind conversation is infinitely better than disappearing. Because how you end things says just as much about your character as how you start them. And the next habit goes even deeper because it's not just about what you do. It's about the worldview quietly shaping how you see dating altogether. The fourth habit is one most Christian guys don't even realize they've adopted. Red pill masculinity. Now, before you click off, hear me out, because this one is tricky. The red pill identified real problems. Men are too passive. Men lack purpose and discipline. Men have become soft and directionless. Those observations aren't wrong, and that's exactly why it's so dangerous. Because it mixes truth with poison. It diagnosed the problem correctly. It just gave young men the wrong cure. Instead of pointing men toward Christ, it pointed them toward dominance. Instead of sacrificial love, it prescribed emotional detachment. Instead of pursuing a woman with honor, it taught men to treat dating like a game, a conquest, a performance. And here is where it quietly creeps into Christian dating. You start seeing vulnerability as weakness. You start treating pursuits like strategy. You start evaluating women like transactions. What does she bring to the table? And you might even use biblical language to justify it. I'm just being a strong leader. I'm not being a simp. I'm protecting my frame. But here's what scripture actually says about how a man should love a woman. Ephesians 5 verse 25 says, "Husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her." Gave himself up. That's not dominance. That's not emotional detachment. That's not a game. That's sacrifice. So here's the lesson. Examine what's actually shaping your view of dating and women. Is it scripture, or is it the content you've been consuming that feels biblical but isn't? Because the man who leads like Christ doesn't need game. He needs character. And the final habit goes deeper than all of this, because it's not just about behavior. It's about what's been quietly forming your desires and expectations before you even meet her. The fifth and final habit is the most personal one, and I want to handle it carefully because this isn't about shaming anyone. It's about being honest about something that's quietly affecting more Christian guys than anyone wants to admit. Because pornography doesn't just affect your purity, it forms your expectations. Think about it this way. If you've been consuming pornography since you were a teenager, it has been quietly shaping what you expect from a real woman. How she should look, how she should respond, what she should be willing to do. And then you meet a real person, a real woman made in the image of God. And somewhere underneath the surface, those expectations are already there. You might not even say them out loud, but she will feel them. And here's the most convicting part. You might have stopped watching porn, but if you haven't examined and addressed what it taught you, you are still bringing those expectations into how you date. Matthew 5 verse 28 says, "Anyone who looks at a woman with lustful intent has already committed adultery with her in his heart." The standard isn't just your behavior, it's what's happening in your mind. So here's the lesson. This isn't just about stopping, it's about unlearning. Ask yourself honestly, what has pornography taught me to expect from a woman? And does that align with how scripture says I should see her? As an image bearer of God, worthy of honor, dignity, and sacrificial love. Because the goal isn't just to stop consuming, it's to start seeing her the way God sees her. And when you do, everything about how you pursue her changes. Now, you know the 5 worldly habits Christian guys have quietly adopted in dating. But knowing what to stop is only half of it. The other half is knowing what to actually build. Because eliminating worldly habits doesn't automatically make you ready for the relationship you are preparing for. It requires something more intentional. And I covered exactly what that looks like in this video right here. So check it out. Remember, the path is yours to walk. And as always, I'm in your corner, rooting for you.